Worries in a dance, worries tonight, worries in a dance, worries tonight. And welcome back to my channel. It's your girl CocoButterMartin. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share my videos. Follow me on all socials so you'll be in the know when I drop my next video. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Sometimes you gotta speak your truth in order for your voice to be heard. But with heavy heart, you have to say what you have to say and let go what's on your mind. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and let's get into it. Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a little bit different and it's just talking about a series of events that I went through with a particular brand in Toronto since Christmas of 2023 to this day in 2025, August 1st. So let's get into it. I'm a type of person that I try to resolve things. I like to resolve issues. And in this sense, nobody can attack me for finally coming out and saying my piece because I've tried over and over and over again to resolve this issue. So in 2023, around Christmas time, Tribal Carnival and Tribal Carnival Cayman had a contest where you could win a trip to Toronto, which I wouldn't like. If I won, it would be okay because I'm not far from Toronto, but a trip to Toronto with costume and hotel stay. And then they also had a trip to Cayman Islands with hotel stay and costume. So another winner, I don't know if his contest was fulfilled, but mine was for Cayman Island for 2024 with costume and hotel expenses, travel expenses paid. That never happened. So this is where my story begins. So I sent my information in and months went by and I was just trying to figure out if, any information was updated, how things were going to go. So I reached out to them a few months later after submitting my information right away when they asked. Just asking any updates on the information. And I also was having another trip coming up. So I just wanted to be in the know of any updates in regards to the trip with Tribal Carnival. And I was ghosted for a little bit. And then they answered me. And they asked me to send my details over again. I was like, hey, just wondering how everything's gonna go, if anything is, out there yet about any additional details because the time is coming up for Cayman, Carnival in Cayman. I was also going on a trip to Essence Fest in New Orleans, so I wanted to kind of understand what the dates were that they were trying to have me travel so that it aligns with my traveling to New Orleans because that was a trip that I also was planning for a while as well. I noticed some red flags when, first of all, they took a while even after launch to contact me, and then after a while I was just like, you know what, let me contact them. And they're like, yeah, send your details. They have told me to send my details so many times in emails, through DM. So it's not like they don't have my information. They tell me to send my details over and over again. Never ask me about size or anything like that, but just tell me to send my name and info. So I've sent that to them over and over again. Always the same story. Oh yeah, sorry about that. And ask me to send my details over and over again. Anyways, so I was, like I said, going to New Orleans and I was like, hey, I just want to understand what dates that you'll have me traveling because I have a trip coming up. And if so, instead of buying my ticket where I come back to Toronto, if the dates are kind of too close or like overlapping, I can just buy my ticket from Cayman and go straight to New Orleans. That's one of the alternatives I was giving. Didn't hear nothing back, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, these are the travel dates." So I was like, "Okay, the travel dates are not bad. Travel dates are not bad. I will just stick with the original plan of coming back to Toronto and flying out 2 days later to go to New Orleans." So waiting, that time never came. I ended up just buying my ticket late for New Orleans. The time all my friends have already bought their tickets for New Orleans, and I had bought my ticket late, paid for my accommodations. Everything else was paid for, my Essence Fest tickets, the whole thing. It's just that my flight, I was waiting on them in order to confirm my flight because I didn't want to buy a flight, and then it was an issue. So I ended up buying my tickets late. Didn't hear from them, contacted them later and said, "Hey, so like how that's not gonna happen, what's going on?" And they were like, "Oh, their sponsors fell through." They said it so last minute that their sponsors fell through. I'm sure they knew their sponsors fell through a long time ago, and that's something that should have discussed with me prior to, but it took me contacting them over and over again for them to tell me that their sponsors fell through. So they're like, "Okay, in 2025, we'll give you the option to either come to Cayman, to do Cayman Carnival with the same things, Cayman Carnival, costume, so traveling with them for 2025, or I can opt to get a costume in Toronto." So at the time I was like, you know what, I still want to go to Cayman in 2025, so I'll opt for the Cayman option. One of their Cayman stops, because I think they have two. And I was like, "Hey, these costumes actually look really nice. I would be interested and hoping to hear some information soon." They're like, "Yeah, I'll get back to you." Never got back to me. Contacted them again. And I was just like, you know what? I came to a decision at that moment that I didn't really trust them anymore because there was too many red flags. And I was just like, you know what? I will opt for Toronto in 2025, which is this year, and you don't have to worry about doing for me doing Cayman anymore, because to me I didn't feel safe or trusting of going to Cayman anymore because of the lack of communication and a lot of red flags. So in that sense, I was like, you know what? Just give me a costume for Toronto and I will play in Toronto Mass instead for 2025. They're like, "Okay, sure, we can do that. What costume do you want to play?" Send them information. I can't remember what section it was, but I'll have all of that in pictures in the video. But I was just like, you know, I wouldn't mind playing in this section, frontline. Or I messaged them like a few days later. I was like, "Oh, if this section is available to me as well, I wouldn't mind playing in this other section, frontline." I was left on red, and that was it. I said, you know what? Okay, they went through their launch, and somebody had contacted me saying what costume I wanted, but nothing further happened from there. So I was like, you know what? I am sure they will contact me at some point, because this is not hard now. This is in Toronto. It shouldn't be that stressful. It shouldn't be overwhelming. It shouldn't be an issue. I went to St. Lucia, came back from St. Lucia Carnival, and I was just like, "Hey, I haven't heard from you guys," because obviously they ghosted me. And I was just like, "So am I gonna get a costume for Toronto this year? You guys don't even know my sizings and stuff like that." Was left on red. And then I said, you know what? I gave them a screenshot of their contest that they made. And then I was just like, I guess this is not happening at all then. Because at that point, you're just leaving me on red. So that means that you don't have no interest to have any further communication with me. So the thing is like, why have contests and then not fulfill them? So according to the Ontario laws, if you have a contest, it's actually fraud to have a contest and not fulfill your end of the bargain. And then it's kind of weird to see them come out with another costume saying that they will pay a trip again to somebody to jump with them, and they haven't even fulfilled their obligations from 2023. It was hard for me to come out with this story because I really didn't want to speak about it, and I was just like, people that think that Tribal Carnival Cayman is not the same as Tribal Carnival Toronto is delusional, because they're both the same owner. And I was just like, you know what? The owner is a female, and she's a person of color. And, I'm trying to just rock it out to make it not look bad. And this is 2025 now. And like I said, this is going on the second year. And I'm just like, I tried my best to work with them, and they just didn't want to work with me. So time to speak my story. And it's funny because when other people that know my story already and what the situation is, has sent me videos of other people's stories, had a costume and the costume was reworn, but that's not my story. So I can insert her TikTok in my comments, and you can go look at it for yourself, because I won't tell somebody else's story, because that's not my story. But yeah, I just wanted to get on here and let you guys know my story. I don't think I'll ever get a costume from them. That's just that. And I mean, my support for the whole movement and band is just gone. It's just unfortunate. You try to stand by certain creators in Toronto, and it just doesn't work out. So that's just it, and we move from there. Anyways, I hope everybody has a safe carnival in Toronto for 2025, and I hope something like this doesn't happen to anybody else in the future. Bye for now.